Good morning, everyone. Welcome to WHTC Jan Meeuwsen Garden Hour. It's me, Jan Meeuwsen. I am back. I am at least, 75% better than what I was. So it's always good to be back. And it's a lovely day in Zealand. The sun is shining over there. Over here in Holland, we've got overcast skies, but I've got every hope for a nice blue sky here later on, too. So it's much better than seeing snowfall all day. We're experiencing a little bit of problems with my lead into this. So hey, we never know. I'm just going to accept it. I feel much better. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all the prayers when I was not well at all. I am doing much better now. I say that as I can't speak, but hey, we're going to try it for a whole hour. And I have to thank you for all of the donations for Island Dogs and Save a Gato over the course of December. All of the people that bought a calendar or pet calendars, they turned out so cute this year. Thank you very much. I sent all that money down there along with 10 boxes full of stuff that you people have so graciously brought over to the DeBruyn Seed Store for me to send down. And again, I will always take more. If you've been cleaning out your house while you've been snowed in, I will accept any dog, cat, bunny, even human medication that you didn't finish. You got to say you got some antibiotics. You didn't finish them all. I will gladly take them. I'll take any flea or heartworm medication that you aren't going to use. Any S-Block or KMR, nursing bottles, bandaging material, syringes, needles, whatever you've got, I will take it all and send it down to Puerto Rico. If they can, use our medications, then they don't have to send out for costly medications, and they can do their job of spaying and neutering and taking care of all of the animals that have been abandoned in Puerto Rico by we tourists that bring our animals down there. So they do a wonderful job. And if you want to know why I like them so well, you can purchase one of our calendars. We still have a couple of them left. And I've got my why I like Island Dogs on the back so people understand, the whole idea behind it. I like it when people take care of other animals. I think that's a wonderful thing. That's one of the things that God told us to take care of the creation, and they are part of it. So it just makes me feel warm and fuzzy when they get their dogs and cats adopted too. Okay, so enough of that. What's happening down at DeBruyn? Ice melt. That is a huge thing right now. I've been warning you that, when the snow falls and it gets slippery, it's best to have the ice melt in your garage, not at DeBruyn's, because it's not going to do you any good if it's at DeBruyn. So come and pick up some ice melt today. We've got smaller bags. You don't have to get a huge 50-pound bag of ice melt. We do have smaller bags, so the guys will help you pick out what you need for your certain location. Everybody's locations are different. So, if you need a pet-friendly one, or if you need one that's a little friendlier for your concrete or your vegetation, we've got it. So, stop on by. And we've got plenty, so don't worry about it. You're not going to come over to DeBruyn's and we're going to go, oh, sorry, we just sold our last bag. No, we've got plenty. We still have more coming in for the winter, so don't worry. And I was listening to the weather before I came on, and we've got some sleet and snow coming up on Sunday and through Monday. So, and it said possibly, freezing rain. So let's remember that with the ice melt. That's usually the worst temperatures to be at, are those ones that were right around 30 and it kind of rains and then it freezes at night. And then by the time you leave in the morning, it is not thawed yet, and it's pretty slippery. So we need to take care of that and get all that ice and junk off the driveway. And I just want to remind people, you don't need to use as much ice melt as what you see on the road. Each little pellet of ice melt, what it does is it hits the ground and then it thaws and it makes like a little puddle. and it freezes. So that one little tiny thing will freeze like a 2 to 3 inch circle around it. So you don't need to throw so much down. I always say do it like you're salting your food. I hope you don't salt your food that heavily, but don't do it. It's hard to, you really got to be pretty good at it if you're just throwing it out there. I've got one of those little fertilizer spreaders that I put it in. It's a little handheld thing, and I don't walk fast, but and I don't wind it fast either. So it goes down pretty good. So you don't need to put down quite as much as what you think you do. And the whole idea is to put it down before it starts to snow or sleet. So then your sidewalk or your driveway is protected. So if we put it down before, I usually get home from work and this is what I've been doing. And then I've been trying to clean the driveway off and then put ice melt down for whatever I'm going to get the next morning. And it seems to be working well for me right now. So you might want to remember that. Do it before the weather, because it does it much easier if you put down the ice melt before it really starts to snow. And remember, don't put down quite as much as what you think. You don't need to have a whole bunch of ice melt in one spot. It's, sometimes I think it's easiest to get the ice melt that is colored and then you can see where it is. So that makes it easier to see if you've been putting it down too thick. But whatever ice melt you use, and I don't care if it says pet friendly or not on it, make sure you wipe down your pet's paws before they come in the house. And you need to check between their toes. That's where that ice melt seems to kind of stick to the hair between their toes. And, and then they come in the house and they get bored after a while, and then they start licking their paws because that's on there and it probably irritates it. And then they ingest that ice melt. That's where you're going to have problems. So unless you want a big vet bill, make sure you clean off your dog's paws before they come in the house after they've been out there walking on a driveway or a sidewalk that's got ice melt on it. And remember, I don't care what kind of ice melt. I don't care if it's a friendly one either. Not one is friendly to their stomachs. So, it might be okay on their paws and it's not gonna sting their paws, but we don't want them to ingest it. Another thing that's moving like crazy at DeBruyn's is bird seed. I don't know if you feed birds. This has been the most delightful couple of weeks watching the birds outside. I cannot believe how many birds I have outside right now. It is just incredible. I started making a list of all of the things I have seen, and goldfinch, purple finch, house finch. I've seen juncos, mourning doves, blue jays, tufted titmice, nuthatch, both the white and red-breasted, chickadees, cardinals, woodpeckers. I have some downies and some red bellies and some hairy woodpeckers. There's also red-headed and pileated, but I don't usually get them in my backyard. I've seen a kestrel. I have some sparrows, tree sparrows, house sparrows. There's some white-crowned and white-throated. The starlings, I've seen a couple of them. I've seen a couple of Cooper's hawks in my backyard. A Canada geese, I get those in my pond. I've seen some creepers. I saw some robins, and I've got a ton of ducks. But it's just fun to sit there and watch them. I'm kind of waiting for the pine siskins to show up and a couple other birds yet. But I cannot believe, and they're constantly there. They empty my feeders every day. So every morning, even when I did not feel well and was running a fever, I had to be out there filling those feeders for my cat to watch all day, because heaven forbid he have nothing to do besides watch the feeders all day long. But it has been fun. I've been watching the feeders along with him. What a fun thing to do. I would just as soon watch the feeders as to watch TV. So I find that extremely fun. They all seem to love it. And I put out some suet, but I've also put out, I got for Christmas this little bird seed wreath that's just a compressed seed thing. And I put that out for the birds. And my goodness, they just went nuts over it. Everybody was on it. Even the blue jays were on it. So I decided to hang another one. So now I've got one that's shaped like a pine tree, Christmas tree. And they love that one too. So it's been fun with those things. I put those on a different deck and my upstairs deck so I can watch that out of the living room. What fun. They are just like they almost kind of go after each other when another bird lands on it and one's eating on it. My goodness, they're not nice and they do not share well. I have noticed that. And when the blue jays are there, nobody else wants to be there. But it's been fun to watch those little birds fighting over that. So I've got a lot of little brown birds. And for all of you that are watching or listening to Coffee with the Birds this morning, it's not quite over. But I know I was listening to it earlier with the guys at work, and they were seeing a lot of little brown birds by the feeders, just like I do. The juncos are so sweet right now. I love watching those little guys. So I'm just having fun. They're kind of getting set for the Great American Bird Count, which is President Day weekend. So that's in like the third week in February. Obviously, my mind kind of went with the virus that I had. So maybe you never know. But kind of getting ready for that. You can sign up for that already. Just go on the Great American Bird Count and you can sign up. And they'll tell you what you can do. You just have to watch birds out your window. You get 4 days. You have to watch them 15 or 20 minutes. I like to sit there every morning with my coffee. I sit there and watch the birds just at my feeder, and I just write down what I see and how many. It is fun to do, but you don't have to do it by your house. We have to take a break now, give my voice a little time to catch up with me, and we will be right back after these messages.
Hi, this is Mark Vandenbosch of Zeeland Lumber and Supply. Join me Saturday afternoons at noon for the At Home Show on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.
You know, Adam, you can keep playing this music. This is kind of fun. I like it better than my normal opening.
This is a much classier Jan music.
It is. I have it elevated so high here. But welcome back to the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Hour here. We're experiencing a little difficulty with my lead-in, but that's so much more fun than my normal lead-in. But yes, and I'm here. I can take your calls. 616-395-1450. 616-395-1450. You got any garden questions or bird questions or whatever? We're here waiting for your calls. We were talking about bird feeding because that is just incredible at DeBruyn. So many people are picking up seed and ice melt, but we're talking about suet. And, you know, some people don't even know what suet is. They might feed it to birds, but they don't know what it is. And actually, it is rendered beef fat, and it's the fat from around the kidneys, basically. And we do have a caller on the line. Good morning, caller. You're on the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Hour. Good morning. Hello. Well, maybe we didn't have someone there. Oh, hello. I guess. Oh, there. Yeah, I do hear you now.
Hello?
Oh, yeah, we got you. Try it one more time. Say hello.
Hello?
Hello, we hear you. Yes.
Okay, I heard about a week ago you're talking about growing lettuce inside one of the, like a little greenhouse in the house, and I just wonder how deep that container has to be to grow that lettuce.
Actually, we've got it in what's called an aero garden, and it's grown in water.
Oh, wow.
And it's not, the water is maybe 4 inches deep.
Okay.
But yeah, I've been eating lettuce now for over a month, and I picked some this morning to have a salad for lunch. So
Oh, wow.
it's been kind of fun. It doesn't need to be anything. You don't need 8 inches. You could easily have it in like a peat pot type thing.
Okay, a pea pot.
Yeah.
What about one of them trays? Could you just fill it one of them trays? Those.
I would think so.
about
Yes.
two-
Yep.
So lettuce don't really root that deep, then, huh?
No, it really does not. It does not
Okay.
have a huge amount of
All
roots on it right now. No.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, good. Thanks for your time.
Yep. You're welcome.
Yep. Bye.
Bye bye. Yeah, if you're starting seed right now, I've got a couple of I've got bib lettuce, I've got a red lettuce, and then just a normal just cutting lettuce, and they've all done extremely well. I've also got some basil going and some catnip for somebody at the store. I don't know who that would be, but it's been fun. I've been cutting that stuff for quite a while, and it's nice and green, and it's nice to have something really fresh for dinner at night or for lunch. It's really kind of fun. So yes, you can do that. We've got the seeds, we've got the soil, we've got little germination kits, we've got seed mats to keep the seed warm. We've got everything you need to start seeds at DeBruyn. So figure out what you want to grow. Make sure you don't want to grow something that stays inside that needs an incredible amount of root space. Tomatoes and peppers, you could probably try like one in a thing, but boy, you'd have to transplant that and keep transplanting it and have an awful lot of sun. So you'd have to have a supplemental light source for that thing. But the little things, the greens, radishes you could do, they're not too deep. It's just kind of fun to do something growing inside. Something green and growing inside just is like some of the most wonderful things in the world. I just put in a couple of amaryllis bulbs, so they'll should be up and almost blooming by the time Valentine's Day comes along. But it's so much fun to watch something grow during the winter that I can take care of. Because my house plants are just kind of there in the winter. They kind of go dormant. But, have something that's really growing and doing something. I do have some herbs on my window or on my kitchen counter. I've got some thyme and some parsley, and I have some basil there too. They do need more sunlight than just plain daylight. We've only got 8 hours of daylight, and they do need more than that. So they are going to need a light on over them. I just have the light from my kitchen cupboards. They've got under cabinet lighting, and I just keep that on until I go to bed at night and then turn it out. And that seems to give them enough light along with the daylight. And they grow, and they don't grow as fast as they would outside, which is fine with me, so I don't get something overgrown. But I can use it, I can pick it, I can use it, and it works just fine. So, there, get out, not get out, but get in your house and start something growing. I just started this morning, as a matter of fact, I just started some oats for the cat. He likes to chew on oats when that starts to come up, so it looks nice and green and looks cute in a pot. And he loves to chew on that. So, and if he chews on that, he does not chew on anything else. That's the good part. Otherwise, he partakes of a lot of my other plants, and I have to be really careful about what house plants I have because he's a naughty one and he likes to chew. I've never had a cat that's really liked my plants before, but he's one of them. But I have found that if you give him his own, he's perfectly fine with it, and he leaves all of my, I've never had a cat that went after my African violets except for Stanley. And I know I did not name him, and I blame the person that did name him, gave him a horrible name, and I think he just doesn't like it. I think that's why he's so naughty. That's the only reason I can think of. So, yes. No, I have digressed so far away. With the phone lines are still open, 616-395-1450, 616-395-1450 is the number to call. We were talking about suet, and suet is the suet that you buy in the store is beef fat, and it's from around the kidneys. But it is melted, and then they skim out all of the imperfections like bones or sinew or anything like that. So it remains pretty pure. And then when it's still warm, they mix it with seed or peanut butter or nuts or even insects, and they shape it, and that's what the birds get to eat. It does not. It is suet, but it does not go back to being liquid again. In the summer, if it's really hot, it might get sticky and try to melt again. But as a rule, it does not. It does not. You can feed it year round, and it's not a problem. If you do have your suet out in the hot sun, in the summer they have something called dough rather than suet, and that won't melt. That's guaranteed not to melt. But remember, you put the cake of suet out or the suet bell or whatever you're doing, they eat the whole thing. They even eat the shells and whatever else is in there. So there's no mess under the feeder, and there's nothing left. So that's the good part. It's like a no waste type of thing. It is great it's high in fat and protein as well as other minerals and nutrients, and it's fast energy for the birds, and they don't need to eat quite as much of it to get as much energy. It's a really high energy, so their stomach isn't quite so full, so they actually can still eat something else. So that's the good part about it. In the wintertime, they need to stay warm. They need to have that extra fat and energy. So putting suet out, you'd be surprised. I don't think that there's anything at my feeder that does not like suet. There are some things that don't like to cling to the suet cage and eat. So I usually put a little thing of suet on the ground also for all the little ground birds that just love that little thing. And it's the one thing that just disappears instantaneously. And it really doesn't matter what flavor I put out there. I think suet comes in the orange and blueberry and woodpecker and insect and whatever, all these different flavors. And they eat them all. I've not had one that the birds won't eat. So just, put out some suet, especially if you feed the birds already. They would absolutely love it if you put out some suet for them. You would be surprised at everybody that eats it. My blue jays will go down by it. It's kind of fun. If you've got little suet cages on the sides of your feeders, you'd be surprised how many birds will sit there on that and just peck away at that. It doesn't look very good to me or appetizing, but obviously to them it is like the sirloin steak that you can buy anywhere else. And I know some people do buy suet from the butcher. You can make your own suet. Just remember, you do have to render it, though. So you do have to cook it down and, skim off all the imperfections and all the junk that floats to the top, and just use the pure suet down below and mix it with whatever you want to do it. You can do it with the kids. I think this would be fine. Remember to let the suet cool just a little bit before you start working with it, because it has to be hot before the impurities come out of it. So do be careful. So let it cool down, get all the imperfections out of it, and then let it cool down a little bit. Let the kids stir a bunch of birdseed, whatever in it. And once it's cool enough, let them form it into whatever shape their little hearts desire. You can put a little hook in it. You can do whatever you like with it. I think the kids, on these snowy days might actually like that sort of thing to do. It does help some birds out in your backyard, and you can find that you did something worthwhile for the birds. Okay, now Adam is telling me that we have to stop and go to the news right now. I can hardly wait to hear what music we've got going.
I'm the same. I have no idea what's going to happen next.
All right, so let's.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Saturdays are special with the David Carrier Show, Money Matters, the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show, and the At Home Show. All on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.
Yeah, the liner. You got shout out on the liner there for that one. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Well, welcome back to the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show. We've been playing around with our music, our entry music here, and our exit music, and Adam's picking out some pretty good ones. I kind of like the jazzy type things. So this has been kind of a fun morning. At least it's keeping me awake. I have a couple of things that now we have had some cold weather here. The ground is quite cold. Don't plant anything in it right now, but this is the time to. The weed of the week is Japanese knotweed. That's that horrible thing that keeps spreading. And if you put Roundup on it or anything on it, it just does not kill it. And really, you really need to call a professional in to take care of that sort of stuff. But this is the time of year you can actually do something about it. And MSU will suggest that the dead standing stalks can be turned into straw or whatever. It eliminates the fire hazard that they can be. We just need to take them, brush hog them down, cut them down to about 1 to 2 inches long. It makes it you don't have to use any chemicals this way. So this way you cut that down, and so it won't come back because it's dormant right now. So that's the best time. So you can kind of get your view of the water back if you had that in the way right now. Just feel free to brush hog it down, mow it down, whatever. And you will actually give, room for other things to grow. And we do have a caller on the line. Good morning, caller. You're on the Garden Show.
Good morning, Jan. I have a question about my Christmas or Thanksgiving cactus, whatever they are.
Okay.
I get buds, and then they just drop off. They don't turn into flowers. Is it too dry, too wet, or what is it?
Do you rotate your cactus or what?
What you mean? Turn them around?
Yeah.
No.
Because one reason why they might do that is, you bring the cactus to the sink to water it, and then you put it back down, and the buds aren't in the same place that they were before. And what they do is they twist off to try to get to the sun.
Oh, I don't bring them to my sink. I bring my watering.
Okay, so you bring the water there. So that's the number one thing is the positioning of the plant. Other than that, mine does that every once in a while too. And I think it's probably because it's not the right season for it. It doesn't really, it only goes so far and that's it. And then it just drops off.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay. So you shouldn't turn them. You should always just leave them the same way.
Yeah, always leave them the same way. Otherwise, the new thing that's coming out will twist to get that same exposure to the sun as it had before, and then it just twists itself right off.
Okay. I just thought maybe I was not watering enough.
No, and I think it's just because it's really not going to all fully blossom, so it's just going to say, "Nah, I'm just going to quit doing this."
Oh, okay. Very good.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Yep. Bye.
It's always fun having Christmas cactus or Thanksgiving cactus that wants to bloom again on Easter. Mine's trying to bloom right now again, too. And we have another caller. Good morning, caller. You're on the Garden Show.
Yes, good morning, Jan.
Good morning.
I would just like to ask you a question about this. It looks like before the winter hit, but I saw it coming up because we had warmer temps, but it's little sections, it looks like ground clover, but that stuff is popping up everywhere, and I can't seem to get rid of it, and it's now inside of my lilies, and granted now the snow's covering all this, but beforehand it was like every time I'd pull it out somewhere, it'd pop up somewhere else, and it's like I've tried Roundup on it before, and that doesn't seem to kill it either. I have a picture. Maybe I'll bring it in to DeBruyn and look at it.
Bring me a picture. My guess is it's something that grows by a rhizome under the ground, and that's
hard
why
to get rid of.
Yeah, that's why it's popping up everywhere. You might kill it in one spot, but the roots will go to some other spot. There's a couple of weeds out there that just love to do that.
Oh, and it's in an area that you have to move back all the rock and stone, and it's
That's
more
the
work
only
than
place it
anything
ever
else.
does it. It did it at my house too, in the rocks, and I would kill it in one spot, and then whoop, it came up, 10 feet away from where it was before. So, yeah, bring a picture of it in, and I'll take a look at it, and I'll bet you anything it's one of those.
When I cut back the lilies, it was all in the whole lilies. It's like the whole area that was around the lilies, all this stuff like sprouted everywhere, and it's like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how to do this.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'll bring a picture in. Thank you.
Yeah, bring it in, and I'll gladly ID it for you, and we'll figure
thank
out
you very
something.
Much. Have a good day.
Yep, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, there are a couple things that are just nasty that way.
And not one of them complimented you on the new music for the show.
Really? Oh, my
Yeah.
goodness. And I'm loving it here.
We got a new jazzy thing going on.
Jazzy intro, and
Yeah.
nobody notices except for you and I that seem to like it. So, oh, well. But anyway, we're also taking care of our knotweed right now. We're cutting it down to, 1 to 2 inches tall. And then in the spring, you can see where it has to send up new shoots, and you can probably hit those with some Roundup before they get too tall. And you can make a dent in your Japanese knotweed. You might have to do it every winter from now on, but it will at least keep it under control, because if you've got Japanese knotweed, you know how it starts out in one little clump, and pretty soon it's like 5 times the size it was before. So this is the time of year you can actually do something about it. So get out there and just knock it down. That's all you got to do. Just knock it down. And the county said brush hogs, weed whackers can be used, or you can just knock them over with your snowmobile. Suggests that also. So, yes. So you're not going to kill it, but at least you can stop it being so prolific this coming spring. So that's the good part about that. I have to remind people, we do have, I would say, 80% of our garden seed in already for this coming spring. There's a couple varieties of things we don't have. Like if you really want Trinity sweet corn, I think that's coming in this coming week, but we don't have it in quite yet. But we do have plenty of other sweet corn in right now. So we do have a lot of it in and ready to go. We do need to stop and take a break, and I can hardly wait to see what music Adam has decided for this ending.
I don't even know what's going to happen next either. We'll find out
okay.
right about now. Oh.
The best way to stay on top of your day. 99.7, 1450 WHTC Holland and WHTC.com.
I'm going to turn this one up, Jan.
I like this one.
There we go. Yeah, there you go.
So, Dan, if you're listening, I would like this as my music. I would not be unhappy about that at all. Well, welcome back to the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show. We've just got a few minutes left here, but our phone lines are still open. 616-395-1450. 616-395-1450. I have almost gone an entire hour without coughing. I am so impressed by this. I would not have done that last few weeks, so let's just be thankful. So, yes, we've been talking about, we've got garden seed in. You can start some things in the house. Don't be scared of that at all. It is way too much fun to have something growing in the house this time of year. I get bored with my house plants this time of year because they just kind of sit there. But they are dormant right now. But this is the time that if you had brought your plants outside for the summer and then brought them in, this is the time you'll start seeing little bugs on them. So do take a little, excuse me, a little care about your house plants. Keep a little eye on it when you're watering them. They don't need to be watered as much. Don't fertilize them this time of year unless they are blossoming. I've only got one that actually is blossoming. My anthurium is is blossoming right now, but the rest of them are just kind of sitting there looking at me. So I do water them occasionally. I don't water them as much. I would rather they be on the dry side than on the wet side. Always. I don't care what kind of plant it is. I'd always prefer it to be on the dry side. I do stick my finger in there. I don't water automatically, just water everything. I do check it. Stick my little finger in there and see if it does really need watering. Don't just assume that it does. Because there's not as much daylight. They don't take up as much water as they would do in the summertime. So do be careful of that. My Christmas cactus is one thing that right now slows way down on the watering that it needs. And I've got 2 Christmas cactus. They both drain out the bottom if they have too much, and they're both always got water underneath them that they don't really need anymore. So it sits in a saucer underneath it. But that is actually kind of a good thing. It's out of the root system, and it's kind of in the air around it. So it actually you can have a little microclimate where your plants are. If you, some people say if you mist, I don't think that really adds enough. But I've got all of my plants sit in things of stones, and I make sure there's water in the stone. So it is a little more humid by my plants. It's not where it feels like a jungle or anything, but it is kind of nice. It's kind of a pleasant thing. But do check them out right now. Check them for fungus gnats. Those are those horrible little flying things that love to fly around your face. We don't like those. Check for little mealy bugs and the little cottony things. We need to really keep an eye out for all these kind of things, because this is the time that you'll all of a sudden start seeing thrips or aphids that you brought in last fall. So take a good look at your plants this week when you water them and make sure you don't have anything. We do have insecticidal soap if it's something like aphids or thrips that actually live on it that you can spray the plant with, and it will coat the bug with it. And then if it coats the bug with the insecticidal soap, it can't breathe, because insects breathe through their body. They don't have lungs. So it has to coat the insect, and then it will die. Don't use just your regular Dawn dish detergent or whatever. It doesn't have the right spectrum in there. So it might not, disperse the oil enough to actually cover all of the insects. So do, buy something that is an insecticidal soap that is actually meant for that purpose. That will give you much better results than. And I know that there's recipes out there all over on the internet, but please buy something that does say insecticidal soap. Otherwise you're going to use it and you're going to, well, that doesn't work. And it does work if you use the right stuff at the right time on the thing. So you got to see the bugs, and you have to spray the plant on the top of the leaf and underneath the leaf. Get the whole thing all treated, and then you will see great results with insecticidal soap. We do have these insecticidal granules. If you have a bigger problem, that actually goes just on the top of the soil of your plant, and then you water it in, and it goes into the plant. And if you've got some sucking or chewing insects, they eat it and then they die. And so that works extremely well for those things. It also works extremely well on fungus gnats. If you put this on the surface, the fungus gnats actually are eating your plant roots. So we don't want them. They're not good. But if you put the insecticidal granules made by Bonide, just put them on the top of your house plants, and it works well, keeping those bugs away. It's not going to happen overnight, but in a week or two, you'll start to see the difference, and you will be very happy about what happened, and there's no more problems there. So remember, insecticidal soap. Buy something that says insecticidal soap on it. The insecticidal granules work well. Neem also is something that you can use on your house plants. Again, neem has to cover the entire plant because it also suffocates the insects. So you do need to cover under the plant and over the plant. But you have to be careful with that one because it might, if you cover the whole leaf, then the leaf can't breathe because neem is an oil. So you don't have to be quite so thorough with that. It will kill things. It's not the most effective insecticide in the world, but it will keep them down. So you should be able to take care of them. It's just one of those things. You don't have a whole lot of great options, but they're not bad options. So let's put it that way. So it's keep those little house plants healthy this time of year. So then when you put them back outside in the summer, they're all healthy and strong, and they can take care of those little. The healthy plant can resist insects much better. When your plant is not healthy and has bugs on it, or it's just not well, it sends out pheromones, and the insects can sense that. So, and that's why they always seem to attack the scrawny things. Keep them healthy. And I have to remind you that it's almost the end of the hour here. I will be back Tuesday morning with the normal music at 8:35 with Dan on the garden party. And then I'll be back at between 10 and 11 on Talk of the Town with the garden hour with Gary. And then I'll be back here. This is the most important one next Saturday at 11:15, God willing, or 11:05, God willing. And make sure I can still talk. That's always a good thing. But yes, thank you to all the people at Zeeland Hospital. I'm feeling much better. I got great care there. Until next week, all I can say is go green. And Dan, I want new music.